Hello and welcome to part two of generative AI and prompt engineering. Today we're going to start with our types of outputs. So, just a really quick refresh here. Right, previously, I had talked really about a really quick introduction of the different chatbots, what's going on in terms of chat well, I guess Perplexity was the minor one. Chat, Gemini, Claude, and Perplexity. And you'll may have noticed that like we looked at really the prompt, what goes into that, and how a prompt that you provide plus the background information that your AI chatbot already has leads to what it provides out. That's the output, but sometimes we want more than just text. So as of now, we are in 2026. Your types of output are limited. I say limited, but this is really a lot to five different things. There's text, which we've all seen. There's images, which most of us have done before too. But then you have a little bit more complex stuff. You can create audio. The big platform there is called Suno. I've used it before. I'm shocked at how good some of the music is that it creates. But again, I understand like the copyrighted material, the fact that it's just using other content. I'm very aware of what that is and what the implications are. But just on the surface, selfishly, some of the music can sound pretty good. There's video. We can see, especially, I'd say Google Gemini's Nano Banana, the newest version, is probably the best video generator, at least for my money. And it's pretty like the cost isn't crazy. But then finally, we have applications. We are at a point now where AI can generate mobile apps, it can generate websites, it can generate really anything that works online because it's really good with coding. And I've actually used it a lot. I guess this falls under the application side. I've used it for building sections of web pages. If I need an interactive graphic, if I want something that, if I just want to like redesign a page and I'm thinking like, hey, I need to add better brand elements, I need to make this more mobile friendly, I can use AI now better than ever to help generate that code. And if it doesn't work, I can go back and say, "Hey, this isn't working. I need you to debug this." And I've been pretty shocked at how good it's been from that angle. So those are your five types of outputs. But how do we get the ideal output that we're looking for? That's where prompt engineering comes in. So prompt engineering, it's the practice of creating and refining your prompts to generate your desired output. And a key word that I like to use here is you need to be iterative, which means you got to repeatedly try to improve the quality of your output or the quality of its output. So that means starting with one prompt and not liking the output, or not liking it enough to use it for your goals, but then being able to provide it with the right feedback in order to get a good response. And so suffice to say, like we're way beyond the point of a one sentence input, but I think eventually we will get to the point where prompt engineering can lead to where you can just say like, "Hey, create me this." But again, for the purposes of this course and for what a lot of marketers use AI for, I would say, it's important to understand how to prompt AI effectively. So, how are we going to improve our prompts? Well, let's start with why. We've talked about this a little bit. If there's one thing that I want here for you to take away, it's the idea of hallucinations. You want to avoid hallucinations. I've got plenty of stories of where I have asked AI for something and it has provided me something factually incorrect. Not only that did it provide something factually incorrect, it would then turn around and double down and say like, "No, no, no, this is right. You just have to do this instead." And it would give me some steps to take. And so I have really been a proponent of engineering your prompts and engineering the AI chatbot enough where you're not going to get a hallucination and where it understands to provide you with the response that you want. And the way that I look at hallucinating is ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude to an extent, Perplexity, all of these AI platforms, their number one goal is to give you an answer. They don't like to say, I can't answer that. Now, we are getting to a point where some of them will. You see, especially Claude tries to work within its own ethical boundaries. And you also see with chat now is it's providing a lot of disclaimers, right? Like, don't this is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. They try to put guardrails up, but at the same time, they're still going to give you an answer. And a lot of times, that answer may not be right because again, if their number one prerogative is to give you an answer, it's not to give you the right answer. It's just to give you an answer. How do we avoid those? Well, let's start at the most basic level. There are three levels of prompts. I'm going to give you a quick example of each of these, but just know basic prompts, basic instructions. Contextual prompts give some context. Dynamic prompts is where you use other elements of content, that background information that you have already provided it. So let's create an image as an example. I want you to create an image. This is with Nano Banana. Create an image of a snack stand on a sunny Florida beach. There you go. Very basic. I didn't give it any other details. This is all I gave it. Pretty in-depth retail. You'll see, I mean, there's a lot going on here, right? There's just a ton of stuff. But again, I didn't tell it any of these specifics. I just wanted an image of a snack stand on a sunny Florida beach. So when did we use that, right? There's a lot here, right? It's a pretty complex image, but it was a very basic prompt. Chances are, though, that's not exactly what you were looking for. But it's a starting point. So we use basic prompts really as a starting point, brainstorming, first and foremost. But at the same time, hey, straightforward tasks. Think about outside of images if you need a translation done. If you want AI to give you a quick review of something that you've written, or maybe you're just searching, the basic search function, right? Those are good for basic prompts. Very straightforward. I think most people that are working on AI for the first time or the 10th time, they stick with basic prompts. But then you have contextual prompts, right? These are a little bit more in depth, right? If you look at here, my description or my prompt was, okay, create an image of a snack stand in Florida that sells snacks for kids. The image will be used in an online ad campaign where the target audience is millennial parents of elementary school age children. I am that millennial parent. Small individual bags of chips are on the front shelf of the stand. And you can see what it generated. It still created a lot more than what I asked for, but it did it did what I asked. It even has the parent, it has the kids. It's straight again, this is all I provided. It's very kid friendly. It's an interesting overview. So when we use this, it needs to be a little bit more situational. Obviously, I provided the audience here, and I provided a little bit of the product of the specific products that I wanted included. But then also, if there's any marketing messaging that you want to include in the output of any sort, if you want it to include like a tagline, or if you want it to include some sort of not even the specific tagline, but like an overview description of marketing messaging, right? That can go in there. Really, anytime that you're going to want a game ready output, again, that's not probably game ready, but it's close, right? I can probably refine it with a couple more requests, a couple changes, and then I can get to where I want it to be. Now, the dynamic prompt, though, this is where we are taking it a step further. We want to really get get in depth. So what I did is you'll see in the middle there's a little Florida bag there with stripes. You see all the other ones: Lay's, Doritos, Cheetos. I don't know what Fritos is, and then Fritos. Those are all well-known brands, and if you look at the bottles at the top, Doritos, and then there's a bunch of other ones at the top. I think that might be tries to be a Sprite or a Fresca of some sort. Right, those are known brands. So what I did is I uploaded an image of that bag that we don't recognize, the Florida Blue, and I said, "Hey, I want this on the front of a small snack stand, and it's got to be an outdoor trailer snack stand with other small snack bags available for individual purpose." And then I gave details about where it is and what it's for. Very specific, and you'll see it blends in pretty well. Obviously, you can still see some elements of it that are not quite the best. Right, like that bag of blue chips. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Frets. They look like Doritos, but it looks like it's supposed to be Fritos. But it works, right? Like if you were to put this in a social media, I mean, you can't really have the other brands, but like you could feasibly use this image on a website to show your product, that Florida bag snack, on a website to show it where it's available. And when you think about when you want to use these, I mean, the number one thing with dynamic prompts is you're adding your own background information, which for me was the attached image. You could add other things. You could add, what I like to do a lot is if I'm working with a client, I will upload their brand standards and to a project in AI, and then I will make sure that the output adheres to those brand standards. That helps. That's also tied into the existing knowledge base. But again, if I'm looking for complex content, this would also apply to anything on a website or anything with apps. You really are going to want to use a dynamic prompt in that case. So that's our three levels. In the next step, in the next video, we'll look at prompt engineering best practices. Really, in general, just how to improve those prompts. For now, though, you've learned the three basic types of prompts, and we're going to take those on to the next step here in the next video.